Hi, I'm Andrew Wasson. Thanks for joining me for my weekly guitar blog. It's March 6th, 2016, and this week we're going to do a lesson on improving guitar scale application. Now, this week's question was sent in from John. He's out in Stoke, England, and he wrote in with this email. Hi, Andrew. I've been learning guitar, self-taught. Recently, after not playing for a while, I tried to learn scales and soloing. My problem is scales. For example, I can use pentatonic, even incorporate the 6th and 9th or the flat 5, but it always sounds like I'm just running up or down a scale. Any suggestions from John in Stoke, England? Well, hey, thanks for writing in, John. Even though scales are an area that I've covered a lot over the years, especially, in the different video lessons that we've been doing on the Creative Guitar Studio YouTube channel, there's still always more to discuss concerning their use, so we're going to go a little bit more into them here. With regard to their control and application, I want to cover that for sure, as well as how to organize them on the guitar neck. That's important as well. So, before we kind of get all started here, I wanted to suggest another video of mine for you to watch in conjunction with this one. It's titled The Scale Application Workout. So go check on that one. I'll put the link for it in the description box here. That lesson will be a great addition to go along with this video lesson here. So let's get things started with this lesson on improving your guitar scale application. Well, when it comes to improving our guitar scale application, the first thing we need to focus on is the drilling of scale patterns until we're able to just totally understand them all over the neck. And do it with all the scale patterns. Do it with pentatonic, with major, minor, try it with the modes, work on arpeggios. Get them to the point where you can visualize them clearly on the neck, whether you have a guitar in your hands or not. So what I mean by this is, you need to get them fully developed at your unconscious level. So there's no conscious thought based upon the scale layouts. It's just, free to think about music. So here's a great test you can mess around with. Ask a friend, family member, maybe a roommate or somebody to sit down with you. Have a quick conversation about something. It could be anything. You can talk about the weather, the state of the roads, or whatever you want to talk about. But during the conversation, you have to play through scales nonstop. So, whether your topic is, the weather or sports or whatever it is, just keep playing the patterns continuously as you have your conversation. So what I'm going to do very quickly is I'm going to play G major scales all over the place on the neck. And I'm just going to tell you a quick story about me buying my first car. So here we go. So my first car was a 1971 Dodge. And I found it in a classifieds ad listing, and it was in the local newspaper. Some guy that was actually living in a motel was selling a 1971 Dodge, and it's kind of a car that I thought was cool, and I thought, I'm going to pick this thing up, and my dad said, no way, man, you got to get your uncle to look at it, and I'm going to go with you. Some guy living in a motel doesn't sound too good, too safe. So we went down there, and the guy was cool and everything. I guess he was just down on his luck living in the motel. And we bought the car, and my uncle was a car guy, fixed it up with me over the years, and we ended up selling it for a decent price. And I used that money to pay half my tuition to go to the Guitar Institute of Technology out in California. So there's my quick story about buying my first car, and while I was telling it to you, I was playing G major scales all over the neck. Now, if you can do this, it's a great start to fully understanding your scales at that sort of unconscious level, because you really need your scales there, because if the patterns are all unconscious and you don't have to think about them, then basically your mind, your conscious mind, can be fully absorbed in thinking with respect into creating melodies and licks and guitar lead ideas and where you're going to place a slide and a bend and do vibrato and all the phrasing devices. So keep that in mind. It takes a while to get your scales up to this kind of a level of thought, but once they're there, you can focus fully on making music and not be at that position of wondering where the next fingerboard layout is for your scale patterns. Well, the next idea is the importance of learning to perform licks, riffs, and melody with the scales located in neck regions. Now, our guitar fingerboard basically has three primary neck regions based upon the principle that the guitar is applying a 5-fret musical range. You may have even noticed that already since we tuned the guitar off of the 5th fret. So basically, that's at the point where we're having a unison occur, and our range is operating essentially from open to 5th fret, and then 5th to 10th, and then 10th to 15th. And these areas are really important because your scale patterns tend to sit in blocks within these ranges on the neck. So if you understand how the ranges operate, and you understand how the scales are operating together within the ranges, you really get to know your neck quite quickly. The goal, I guess, in the long term is that the whole guitar neck is one big friendly place to you over time. Now, what we're going to do is take a study here of a melodic phrase, and we're going to move it from one range into the next range and into the next, and we're going to discover fretting ideas and new sounds as we move along the neck. Now, the first position that we're going to be playing within is open to 5th, and here's the melody that I have for you to try learning. Here it is again. So what we're going to do next, that's within the range of open to 5th fret. We're going to move that over to the range of 5th to 10th fret, and it's going to be based now upon 3rd string instead of off of the 2nd string, 2nd fret. It'll be 3rd string, 6th fret, and here's the new phrase. So you want to sort of start thinking, well, what's happened? What's different with the fingering layouts? How are the notes changed? You do have a tuning difference between the 3rd and the 2nd string. So when you move to taking a melody that's not utilizing 2nd string anymore, you're sort of taking the chunk of notes and you're bumping them over to the next sets of strings. So you have a little bit different fingering layout, but it's also a different sound. You have a different tone because the strings are now getting shorter and the diameter of the string is getting thicker. So you getting an increased warmth to the sound of the tones of each individual note. And you can take it even further at the neck here between 10th and 15th or so. We're going to work a little bit as a different layout because we kind of took the same layout as we moved from the 2nd position into the 6th position. But now what we're going to do is we're going to sort of go back with our layout of tones, starting on the 11th fret of 4th string. And then we're going to have to jump down a little bit here to grab the other tones. They're going to be based upon 5th and 6th strings. You can tell now that we're getting higher on the neck with that same range of notes, it's getting kind of really dark sounding now. It's not the same kind of a brightness. There's definitely a darker feel to that one than we had over here. And you can definitely hear it being a lot brighter if we try it again off the original position in 2nd position there. So it's just interesting things to mess around with where you have a melodic statement, you have it in one region, take it to another region, test and operate there, see how you like it, test it and operate in another region just to be sure. You could even take it up another octave. You can do a lot of interesting things if you have a very good understanding of how the neck regions are all broken apart and how ideas can move and sort of shift and be manipulated from one region into another on the guitar fingerboard. So this is an excellent study. I'd certainly suggest starting with something simple like that melodic statement that I used here, and then progress on to more and more complex ideas because once you can fully understand how things are moving along the guitar fingerboard, you're really going to get a lot better with justifying how you want to have a melodic line sound. Because again, it's not just fingerings. Of course, those are important too. They do change as you move along, but it's the sound. It's the way the color of the notes change when you shift into other positions. So definitely keep this exercise in mind. It's a great one to work on. Well, the final idea that I want to cover is one of learning how to continue and expand upon scale ideas. I think one of the most common and probably most frustrating things for guitar players who are working on lead guitar is to be able to stretch out a melodic concept. And aside from spending time constantly inventing longer and longer guitar lines and phrases, it goes without saying that learning other people's solos, the solos by your favorite guitar players, is really a key factor alongside of this principle. Learning other people's guitar solos will give you dozens and dozens of interesting ideas and really expand your own ways that you play across the neck. It'll make you think about fingerings differently. It'll make you think about the lines you choose to go through scales in different ways. And you can even take what you learn from that type of study and incorporate it into the practice that you do with the building and stretching out of your own melodic lines. So in the final example that I have, I'll be starting with an initial phrase and expanding it out into 2 further melodic concepts, and I'll be forcing myself to sort of leave box patterns and position playing. We're going to travel much more laterally. We're going to be up here and work on 3 statements that can be linked together. Now, the first statement sounds like this. Here it is again. And then after that statement, we're going to have a follow-up statement that goes like this. Now, after that statement, we're going to have a further follow-up to it that goes like this. All right. So we have 3 ideas that we would start with kind of individually, and we think of ways of expanding upon it melodically, and then eventually have them all joined together to be one phrase. So we're working in segments to be able to build a longer, more flowing, expanded idea. And this is excellent work with, just sit down with your guitar, come up with a line, build upon the line. And if you can't get ideas very quickly, take a break, get up, go for a walk, have a glass of, water, or cup of tea, cup of coffee, whatever, and come back and keep trying to stretch out your ideas. If you have trouble remembering them, record them, grab your smartphone or something and just record the phrases you come up with, but continuously build on lines, because as time goes on, you're just going to get better and better and better at it. So let me play through these lines all together here. So here's how they all join up. They go like this. So the whole idea, the whole concept that I have there, it's a longer phrase. It's quite a complete idea. It's pretty much, I guess, a full 8 bars if you were to break it down, and maybe sustain on the last note, or maybe it's 7 bars or so. But it's a very complete idea, and it's one that could be used as perhaps if you're writing an instrumental piece, could be used as a verse or something like that in your song. So work on these building ideas, these continued ideas or expandable ideas, whatever you want to call them, I suppose. And, this stretching out, though, of a melodic concept, it's absolutely great for studying your scales across the fingerboard, as well as really pushing yourself in your creativity department. It's really going to be working on that right side of the brain, with the intuitive side and the creative side, because, writing lines and coming up with statements and then expanding on those statements, it's just fantastic work for all of the concepts that are involved in knowing scales on the neck. So take this stuff to heart, really work on this stuff diligently, and I'll tell you, it's really going to do some fantastic things in your guitar playing. Well, as you can tell, in order to improve our use of scales, it's important to take a look at different applications of them, like how well we know and have memorized them, as well as how we can apply the scale patterns on the guitar neck, combined with how scales can function when we're inventing melodies with them. So, as time goes on, what we can do later is work to broaden the scale scales use when we're playing our melody lines, and in the different fingerboard regions of the neck as well. We don't want to always be locked down into box patterns with them, of course. Now, by combining exercises like the ones that we've covered here, along with constantly learning new licks and riffs by all your favorite guitar players, you can really expand the scale knowledge and really improve the scales application that way. So take what we've covered, go forward with it, and I guarantee you that your scales are going to get better and better. Anyway, that's about all the time that I have for today. As always, I want to say thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and if at all possible, consider a small donation to help fund the Guitar Lessons project here. Otherwise, have yourself a great week, and I will catch up with you next time. Bye for now. I'd like to take a moment to mention another guitar video lesson project I've started. It's a unique guitar lesson approach that I'm doing online, and it's not like anything I've done before. Best of all, it's 100% free. I've called this approach Guitar Micro Lessons, and they're a great way to learn a few new licks or riffs or chord shapes each week. Now, these Guitar Micro Lessons are quick and easy to learn from. They're very short, with each lesson running between only 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes in length. They're published to YouTube from Monday to Thursday on my other Guitar Blog Update YouTube channel, and you can either subscribe to that channel to guarantee getting each new episode, or just visit the channel whenever it's convenient for you and check out the new micro lessons in the playlist on the Guitar Blog Update channel's homepage. My Blues Guitar Styles ebook is a masterclass course covering a huge amount of information with 8, 12, and 16 bar blues progressions, classic blues styles, plus all the important chord patterns. There's over 50 pages of information, including sections on blues techniques like slide, alternate tuning, and bending. This ebook has everything the guitar player needs for a solid foundation in blues guitar, including 27 MP3 audio tracks for easy at-home study. Blues Guitar Styles is available for instant download in the View Our Products area at creativeguitarstudio.com.